we had to present my vision for what the product will be. And we pitched it in front of this CEO and team. It went very well. We went back to the CTO's office, and I asked for a $15,000 raise on the spot. It's like I did all this work. Like I should be paid more. He's like, okay, I'll get back to you.
Did they?
And we're officially live.
We are officially live, exactly. I mean, this is just an experiment. When I scroll through design communities on social media, all I see is people getting laid off, concerned about AI and how they should use it, and or having trouble finding a job. Looks like it's very tough out there. Yet when I talk to you and listen to you, all I see is someone, by the looks of it, in a good job, doing a good job. How did that happen? Is there a secret?
There's probably a secret somewhere hidden. And in the journey that I've gone through, maybe we can discover it today. I mean, so now I kind of sit, 16 years in the, I guess, design industry. Now I sit as per this recording, principal product designer, making 6 figures, as you as well. Wasn't an easy one. It wasn't a hockey stick, as you like to say.
So no hockey stick, meaning there's no like big explosion upwards at some point. The overnight success that took 10 years to get there.
Yeah. I mean, there were small mini bursts along the way. I can probably walk us through. But yes, it was navigating the Wild West that is the startup world. That's kind of where I've kind of stayed throughout my career, and that's kind of where I've made my bread and butter. It's like the Wild West of the ever evolving startup landscape.
Right. So 16 years already. I mean, that's a long time. How did you start?
I started by accident, actually. I wasn't actually looking to get into web design or product design at all. Or I didn't even think it existed as it does today, 16 years ago. I actually was looking to get into 2D and 3D animation for films initially. So I had taken this course here in Montreal. It's like a trade school. It's like a 1-year course. What you learn is basically 3D modeling for like video games or special effects for movies. You learn everything from Photoshop, After Effects, all this kind of editing things. And I just come off from school where everything was kind of art. Everything was either painting, drawing. That's like kind of the path that was kind of carved out for me. In school, that's everything else I really kind of sucked at, or it really didn't interest me. So like math, all those kind of things. But the one thing that my teachers noticed was I was really into art, anything kind of artistic that I kind of really love. So that kind of led me to this program that I took. The caveat of or the downside of being in art, it's like you're always given great grades. Like art is very subjective. And I was constantly getting like 80s or 90s out of 100 in my art class. And that kind of, I guess, arrogance carried forward to that 3D, 2D animation course. So I thought like I was good. I could just coast on the natural God-given talent I had, and it ended up not finding a job afterwards. I found out that there was only like a 30% placement rate for that particular career path. So it's like I didn't take it as serious as I should be. My grades didn't reflect that. Obviously, everyone got above 80, so it's like a bit of like a hallucination there. And then the job market hit me hard. I wasn't able to find anything. I was,
Right.
I think, a year out trying to find a job, and zip, nada, not even an internship.
That must have hit you hard. Like, all I get is, A+, like 80, 90 scores, and then smack in the face. Nobody cares. Nobody gives you a job.
Right.
When you say program, like, was it like a 4-year university program or boot camp, or like?
It was
what type of thing was it?
It was a trade program. So it was part of a school, like it was part of like a college, but they had like a trade department. So they had like a graphic design thing. They had like interior design. Like they had a bunch of these kind of like programs. Mine was like a year. It was 12 months.
Right.
So like you're in there for 12 months. That's all you do, kind of thing.
Right.
There was no like English or other kind of program. It was really just the thing that you're learning.
All right. Right. So I imagine you being, 16 years younger than you are today. At some point you wake up and you're like, wow, this sucks. This doesn't work. Life's on hold. I have no
Yeah.
job. What was that like? And what did you do?
I was like, well, this is not going to work. I got to find something else. And I can't. I was living at home at the time. So, like, you have a bit of a cushion there, but still,
Yeah.
I'm from like a very German family. So, waiting around doing nothing is unacceptable. So, I have that ingrained in me. So on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So, like, following that kind of designy path, I was like, you know what? Graphic design seems like a good avenue for me. Let me see if I can find a graphic design course. So I applied at colleges, universities, couldn't get in. Again, my portfolio wasn't strong enough.
To get into a
So
school.
to get into a school, so I
Hmm.
was like, okay, well, there's another roadblock here. So then I ended up landing on another trade school. I was looking for graphic design, but it was paired with a web design component. So essentially, it was a 10-month program, 5 months design, learning like the craft, hard skills, Photoshop, learning all like the different tools, like the full Adobe suite, the layout, etc. And then the last 5 months was learning programming. So like the base level, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, all the coding languages, which I ended up really liking actually.
So I imagine there was already a bit of an overlap, tool wise for you. So I assume it went well for
Yes, the
you.
design part was I had learned all those tools already, like as part of the other program. Well, not so much like Illustrator and InDesign, though InDesign I don't know the last time I used InDesign, but there was an overlap for sure. But it was more graphic design focused versus like the special effects then.
Right. Right. So I mean, I think I see a bit of overlap there if you look at today's, social media posts when people are stuck trying different things, different boot camps, education,
Hmm.
training just to find their way in. Do you think the things you've done after what you just told do you think those are still helpful for someone who's stuck today in your position of 1 year plus of looking and not finding anything?
Yeah, I think if I'm looking back to like the first course that didn't ended in a roadblock, I still use some of those skills today. Like some 3D, like some 3D is was very popular, I guess, in the last couple of years. Learning animation, like because I learned like classic animation, so like hand drawn animation, and also like 3D animation as well. So those kind of carry forward. So there's like, though some paths ended up not going the way I thought they should have, or like I wanted them to, I still learned some skills that I kind of carry in my back pocket today.
Right. Like what? Like, I'm curious. Like what happened after? What did you do? Is there anything that still stands today?
I think animation is something that I've always kind of carried with me. Like I've always wanted to, static screens give me a bit of an itch.
Mm.
And there's a way in which you can implement animation within a product or a design that's subtle and nice. There's a way to kind of make it over dramatic and exciting, but I've learned over the years that like the subtle the better. It's like the best animations are things that in a user interview no one would notice, but
Right.
but as a user you pick it up as part of the experience and it has a bit of quality to it.
Yeah. It looks like someone sat down, took their time, thought things through, and really gave it the care and attention it deserves. No, but what I actually meant with my question before was like, so you've done two programs,
Mhm.
together almost 2 years, um, you know, but you were looking for a job, didn't find one the first time around, and then you complete your second training. What happened after? Like, did you get a job there, or like,
Yeah, and actually, to narrow in on like the second trade, because I didn't take the first program very seriously. I was like, all right, Tyler, it's time to lock in. It's I can't have the same mentality. So so much so that like I didn't speak to anyone in that program. Like I wanted
right,
to be like the best in that program. I didn't speak to anyone. I did my work. I stayed late. I did all the things that you'd want to do. So much so that at the end of the program, where it was like graduation day, not like the ceremony, but like in the last day of the class, then I started to speak to everyone in the class, and everyone's like, "Oh, you actually speak?" Like, yeah, like I was it. I
it
was an
talks.
absolute. it talks. I'm like, yes, I was in monk mode, and I didn't want any distract. I don't want any new friends. I don't want to speak to anyone. I want to get good at this thing that I've paid um, an enormous amount of money for. So like that's something that like I think is something to learn by. Like if you want to do a thing, do like put your all into it, and I think that's what I tried to do there.
It
That being said,
makes me think a bit about that John Mayer story where he also locked himself in a room listening to himself play and learn, and then now like he's like top 1% of his field. It also makes me think about some people get a job because they do something extra, send a card, send a cake, or something silly, and then there's a discussion of, well, you shouldn't have to, but it looks like you did. In that second program, you went all in monk mode, like you said. So I imagine now you got like the 80 and the 90 scores, but not everyone else got them. Like you were top of your class. Did that make the difference for your next step?
I don't think so. It got me. So like part of that program was there. It was 10 months and then like a 2 months internship as part of the program. I think similar to yourself. So like you had the internship, but you had the support of the school as well. So on the final day, I think it was basically show and tell. We had to, at the end of the program, we had to create our own portfolio that we can kind of demo to invitees that like from different companies around the city. They would come and kind of see, they would pick their interns essentially. And I got picked from the top companies within the group that it came.
Nice.
So then I had started on my internship journey, which was not what I expected. I thought I'd learn a lot. I was doing more doing. So it was like, it felt like more of a job than I was being mentored into learning how to do a thing. I would doing more like video editing, a little bit of web design, and some graphic design. It felt a bit weird. It was like I didn't learn too much. And after the internship, they could either keep you or you kind of go on your merry way. They didn't have a position at the time. They had like a lot of designers at the time, so like it felt that there didn't have capacity in terms of like work for me.
Right. Okay. So then you have like 1 year program, and then another 1 year program, of which 2 months was an internship. All of that is behind you. What's next? What happened?
Next, it's finding the first job. So it's like mass applying. That's, I think at the time, like some were being applied online. I think at some places I actually just sent my resume by mail, by snail mail, classic.
You're old.
I'm old. And some I actually went to the place and handed them an envelope with my resume saying, are you guys applying? Here's my resume. Take it. And then I take the bus back home.
Yeah.
Very old school. Very different than we do today, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So at that point, I actually landed two interviews or two positions that were offered to me at the same time. The first one, I think they were like a week apart. But the first one was I was desperate to just get in the door. So like, I'll take anything. The first one was a adult enhancement company. If you can read between the lines there. So they sell a bunch of pills that you can consume that will help you in certain ways. I was like, I can probably pivot after this one. I was like, what do you need me to do? It's like, well, we need some web design, we need some graphic design. It's like all the things that I had learned in school. I was like, okay, interesting. I'll come. They had given me an offer. I said, thank you. Let me think about it for, give me like 48 hours kind of thing. And then I think I got another hit, which was the second company, which was a e-commerce shop. So I went in with the interview. It was great. They wanted to hire me. And I felt like I was in a good position. I was a bit cocky at the time. It's like, oh, I already got an offer kind of thing. It's like, what can you offer? It's like, well, what are you looking for? Like, well, I think the other place had offered me, I think 30,000 to start. I was like, well, 40,000. I'm like, it's like just put 10 on top. Like I already have something. Wow. So what's the worst that I can say? And then quickly said, yeah, sounds good. And then in the moment, I'm like, oh yes, but that at the side of my mind, I was like, oh, I must have underpriced myself. I felt it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
a too quick of an answer.
Yeah. The instant yes means you could have gotten more, probably.
Yes, yes,
It's funny, by the way, to hear like the cultural differences, because when you say 30 and you got 40, like that split second between you saying 30 and 40, I was thinking like they're probably going to say 31 because that's what the Dutch company would do. 30,
yeah.
well, let's one up you. But like 10 up you, that's very non-Dutch. So I'm impressed. Like for any European listener or Dutch listener, I would say if they have offered you 30 and the other company asks you like how much have they offered you, you should say like, well, 34, you know? Yeah, but that's a bit of a sidetrack. Well, congrats on that first job.
I was very excited. I was like, oh, I've officially made it. I have a thing now.
Yeah.
Like I was looking back, I was like, okay, the first school didn't work out. The second, I really put my heart in it. My efforts were rewarded, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, just to make up the overview. So it took you just over 2 years if you include the school and trying school again, and then you get 40 back
Yeah, I think
in
it
the
was
day.
three.
What was
It
that?
was
Was it a lot? Like for Canadian standards, 16 years ago,
Yeah,
or
I mean it was technically 3 years because I had to save the work for a year to pay for the web graphic design
right? Of
course.
course, of course.
It was like 10, 15 grand for the 1 year course. So I had to work the year and then
Yeah.
pay for it. And then I worked part time while I was in school as well.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's super tough, but probably something lots of people trying to get into design are in, that type of situation.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't doing anything else. So
Yeah, of course. There
might as
comes
well.
your German upbringing,
Yeah,
do something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like started the job. I was struggling a bit at the beginning.
Mm.
I mean, there's obviously a disconnect between what you learn in school and then you're on the job. It's a lot different. I think one of the first tasks I had to do was create Google ads, and I was tooling away, and it just wasn't. I just wasn't getting it. I didn't. I was trying to translate. I didn't create ads in school. I was just basically creating layouts. Anything
Yeah.
visual was like a magazine layout kind of thing. So like creating a Google ad was a bit different. I tried to like copy the styles of the previous ads and try to add my little twist to it, but they kept getting pushed back. Like nothing that I was kind of turning out was working well.
Mm.
So much so that like the CEO had come in, like I think like a month in, it was like, hey, do you like your job? Do you like what you're doing? And I was like, yeah, no, I like it. I like it. And I was sensing there was something,
Yeah. There's an undertone there.
There was an undertone. I was like, okay. I read between the lines, like, okay. But like, I'm like, yeah, cool. And then we went our merry way. I'm like, okay, I have to do something here because it's nothing that I'm doing is working. And I decided to like stop copying like the other designers and just like here's what I think we should do. A shot in the dark. And that ended up landing. I started to not just focus on like what the other designer was doing. I was doing some research of like what other e-commerce companies were doing, and then crafting my own kind of thought. And I'm like, okay, my mini version of an A/B test, like and mini
Right.
research. Before research was a thing or desk research was a thing. I ended up really excelling. And then I think 2 months in, my mentor, or like not my mentor, but like the senior designer had quit. So I didn't have anyone to look to anymore.
Protect you.
Exactly. I was swimming in a pond as a small fish trying to learn my way. I was like, oh shit, I gotta figure this out on my own.
Yeah. So that's really a sink or swim moment to keep in the fish metaphors.
Yeah. Ended up staying there for like 4.5 years. So in that time, I was able to like leaps and bounds learn what I had to do. Became the lead designer at that company near the end there.
So you overtook being a lead designer. You probably overtook a few of the more senior designers that were there longer than you were.
Actually, no, because I was like the senior designer left, so I was like the only designer
Oh,
there.
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then we
I
had
mean, that's
to.
impressive. Like if you don't have that protection from stakeholders or,
Mm,
the senior designer above you to learn from and to get reviews from. Like for me, when that happened to me, it really slowed me down. It felt like I gave away 1.5 years of not really knowing what I'm doing, but you being able to move up your way to lead position and actually doing a fantastic job is, to me, it feels very impressive.
yeah, I think the learning there was I was constantly, as we do today, but I was constantly like nerding out on like what was it? Smash Magazine back in the day was like one of the web design websites that you would refer to for like any kind of like Smash Magazine. I would take like courses online from like it was Team Greenhouse. It was like one of those online courses where
Mhm.
you learn how to like, because I was doing both coding and design work. Hence the course I just like the designers were doing HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and a bit of PHP, and the developers or engineers would do the back end only. So like this, that's how
Right.
the split would be. So like we would design, implement, and then they would make it work, do the magic.
I mean, that's impressive, interesting to listen to. So we're talking about like 12, 13 years ago. And you see now that lots of designers are starting to pick up coding. So when you're a developer and a designer in one,
Hmm.
but it's actually going full circle because that's how it's always, well, that's how it was like long ago, with Dreamweaver, for example, and
Hmm.
designers building websites. You were so far ahead of the curve. There was no curve yet.
Yeah, it felt like because that all the designers that we'd hired, like I had hired one designer that was in my class or the year after. Like went to the
Mm.
same school, but I think he was the year after. He was the first one in, and then another designer who knew how to code as well. So I felt like I didn't know anything other than okay, designers code as well.
Right.
But then after I'd move on to the next job, I realized like okay, not everyone has this kind of skill set. So I guess I was in a little bubble.
Before we continue, if you're feeling stuck in your design career, or if you feel like you're doing solid work while no one really notices, we've got a bunch of extra stuff on our website.
We're building a community for product designers to actually learn, grow, and get hired, not just scroll and collect more inspiration.
There's also articles, checklists, and courses.
All based on real world experience from both of us. No fluff, just what actually works.
Check out designtablepodcast.com. The link is in the description. There's a clear split if you look at the super graphic designers. They have websites, with very stylish letters, black and white, lots of space. Everything is rectangular. And then you also, next to it, you have the builder designer. So we have the artist designer and builder designer, in those. So 4.5 years, if you align our timelines, you've been in the same job 4.5 years. In the meantime, I've had 4 jobs, discussed last episode, tons of annoying things happening. But then comes the moment where you decide to leave, or someone decided for you that you had to leave. Like what happened at that 4.5 year mark?
This is a very superficial thing, but I wanted to learn. The main reason I wanted to, because I didn't feel like I was growing enough. I felt like I can do, I think that's like throughout my career, it's constantly what's the next jump? What's the next step? And for me, I wanted to learn and implement CSS. As superficial, I was like, I had my nose to the ground. I know exactly what's happening in the industry. It was the switch between like HTML and HTML5 and CSS3 was like coming out.
Yeah,
I was like,
I remember those days.
I don't want to, I don't want to stay behind. I need to keep up
Yeah.
with the industry. So that's the main reason I wanted to kind of leave, which my employer didn't like. So he kept offering me more money to stay. I was like, crap.
Well, it sounds like that. What if they offer you money to stay? It means that they really like your work. But then I imagine, like, if you felt like you wanted to do more, did you like have talks with your employer? Like, hey, I want to do more of this. Can I do this within the company? Or was there secretly another reason why you wanted to leave?
No, that was a thing, and like the CEO offered like, yeah, you can do that here. It's like, well, that would require an entire refactor of our entire app if I were to do it in practice. It just like and like the ROI of doing a refactor of an existing product that's generating an incredible amount of revenue, it just wasn't there. Like we were also
Right.
supporting like Internet Explorer 6 at the time. Like that was part of our workflow, was to support older browsers that would shave years off your life trying to support. I was just
Mm.
like, the architecture wasn't evolving, and I really wanted to kind of get better and learn a new.
All right. All right. So that conclusion of the refactor ROI not being worth it, was that your own conclusion, or did the CEO tell you that? Because of it, you ended up
That
in some sort of break situation?
No, that was my own conclusion, and I also wanted to. I just wanted to try something new. Like
Right.
I'd done the thing. We had grown the user base from like 1 million users to like 3.2. Like everyone was rich except for me, so I needed to move. Like
Yeah.
let me move on
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do the
Yeah.
next thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, this sounds like this is more exciting than the TV shows I'm watching in my spare time. What happened next? What's the next episode?
So I had found a new place. It was another e-commerce brand. It was a e-commerce brand, but it had physical products. So it was a subscription service for new parents,
Right.
where you can have like diapers, wipes, shampoo, like all the things that you like
Mm.
a new parent would need, or a parent with a young toddler would need, shipped directly to your house so that you didn't have to kind of go to the store and get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine, and as a parent of one with twins on the way, saving a few trips to the store can
Mhm.
really help navigate the exhaustion that you feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, sounds like they will be very rich too, and hopefully you as well as an employee there.
Yeah. So I took the job at a pay cut, actually.
Mm.
I was very adamant about learning something new that I took a pay cut to land at this new place.
Mm.
I'd kind of haggled back and forth. Like, I'm looking for this. It's like, oh, the best we can do this. I'm like, in a year, we can renegotiate your salary and we can bump you up. I'm like, yeah,
That's
sure. No,
tricky. That's
it's
tricky.
tricky. I was like, okay, I mean, I'm still bright eyed, bushy tails. Like, I believe you.
Do you want the contract? No, no, no. I believe you.
Yeah, I guess I should have had that in writing. Yeah. So I started, I had to, take so I started the company. They were looking for a hybrid, like someone
Mm.
who can design and code. I had to take a developer test, which
Wow.
was good. It was like an implementation task. So basically, they gave you a Photoshop file of a landing page, and
Mm.
you had to implement it and make the form work. So it's basically a landing page with like hero section form.
Yeah.
I had to add form validation, and I had to make the submit work.
Right.
That was part of the test.
Right.
Aced it.
Yeah. Of course.
I mean, give me a break.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
Make it hard. Make it harder on me.
And, dear listeners, no help from Chat GPT or Claude or whatever. That's just raw Tyler skill there.
I did it in like jQuery. I may have looked at like a Stack Overflow, if that's still a thing.
It's good old days. But let's not talk about the good old days. Go ahead, please.
So I took that. I was also doing the physical product design because I did do like the packaging design, which for all the SKUs that we had. It was a very interesting experience. Ended up staying there for I think a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and then I just decided to go on my merry way. I had a very big mistrust of the CEO at the time and how he was running things. A bit shady, to be transparent.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if the trust is not there, it's probably smart to move somewhere else, right?
Yes, and good timing too, because a year later they closed down. So it's like
because of the reasons that you suspected, or
for the exact reasons I suspected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your radar, your red flag radar was.
Yeah. I was sniffing something, and it was poo.
Yeah, when there's smoke, there's what do they say?
There's fire.
There's fire. Yeah. So when there's a smell, there's a poop. Is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now I mean, that's something I've seen in a few different careers where someone stays at their first job quite a long time
Hmm.
and then they leave because they want something else or something better. But then the quote unquote job hopping starts.
Yep.
Did that continue for you? Because now you see 4.5 years and 1.5 year and you're going somewhere else again.
Yep. So my next place is actually where I interned at the first when I out of school. So they had been reaching back out to me like every couple of years. I was a bit annoyed that they didn't keep me. So I was like, nah, um,
Yeah.
no, thank you. And then eventually I said, yeah, I'll come, I'll come check you out.
Was that from desperation? Like, oh man, I have nothing, but I need something. Well, okay, sure. Or did they improve or change anything?
They were no, they were the same. They were still they were it was an agency. So they're
Mm,
doing a lot of agency work. Though, like in my head, like I wanted to learn CSS3. Now my title was I think web designer. I think at the end, like I had ended that last job, the social media manager had left, and I had taken on doing the Facebook and Google ads plus web design work. So my title was
mm.
content manager slash web designer, which was odd.
Yeah.
But the new title in the realm was UI UX designer. That was when
Mm,
that was starting to hit.
yeah.
It's like I'm like, ooh, that looks fun. I should be doing that case.
Yeah.
In my head, it was like when these new titles come up, the old one is going to be deprecated. That was like my
Mhm.
thinking. Like, hop on to this new thing, or else I'm going to become out of date.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter if on the day to day it's more or less the same,
Exactly the
but
same.
just, you cannot hold it as an individual if the market just starts calling it something new label. You have to jump ship.
Yeah,
So you're a UI UX designer now.
I'm
So
a UI UX designer now. Yeah, a lot of really good experience working at an agency. To be fair, like you get exposed to a lot of different
oh
projects,
yeah, for sure.
a lot of different experiences. So like, I feel like it like speeds up your career because you get exposed to like 50
Yeah.
different projects, like when that in that span, which is very helpful.
Mm. Yeah, and 50 different projects also means there's lots of different stakeholders with their own quirks, different ways how things are run, different colleagues, different designers. So you're learning so many different things. So yeah, all for agency work, if you have a chance to do it, or consultancy, you know, you'll learn a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I stayed there for like 4.5 years. So like, it didn't stay an agency. They pivoted to a product and an AI product. That was the beginning, like the first wave of AI. So this was yeah, this is not the now, but like classic AI, where there's no prompting. You have to. We had hired people with PhDs in
Yeah,
computer
machine
science
learning
and
and all that
machine
kind of
learning.
stuff.
Exactly,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was interesting to learn. As like, it's good to see like how AI has evolved since that day, and how it
mhm,
was like it was very only the engineers or these super smart people can leverage
yeah.
AI, but now it's available to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the type, like extremely smart backend people working on a scheduler for people working in shifts, for example, and how to best schedule people so that there aren't any gaps or just very few gaps in everyone's schedule, that kind of thing. I remember those days as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I started a UI UX designer, and then I got promoted to director of UI UX near the end there. They had pivoted to a product, so they needed like a head of the department. So
Impressive.
yeah, which
Did you
was
have a team?
yeah, I had a team of two designers. At some point it was three, but it was like two designers. Yeah, it was an interesting time to kind of work on a new space that was like a black box for me. We had
Mm.
to like to start of the project to when they pivoted, the CTO gave everyone a AI 101 course for a month so that like we can not sound so dumb and speak the same language as like the
Yeah.
as the as the AI engineers or like
Mm.
the smart people in the room. So it was good
Yeah.
they have like the same, like, because at the beginning we're like doing like it was internal, but like internal user interviews, like, but we were just like, what are you saying? Like, what, what term is that? Like, and then at the end, we're like, okay, now I understand what you're saying. Now I understand what the
Yeah.
pipeline builder is. Now I know understand what these different methods are. So like that experience I carry with me today, because like some of those like I understand the underlying concepts of how AI works, not just like the surface. I learned this. I have to prompt a certain way and be more specific. I actually understand like how these different AI methods are actually work under the hood, which was interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. What I also think is very interesting is that you suddenly are, head of a department. You have a team of 2 or 3. 2 questions, like what type of manager were you in a sense of, how much design did you still do? Were you more of a player coach or like only
I
managing?
was,
And then the
yeah,
second question is, did you plan for becoming a manager, or did that just happen to you? And if it's the second one, how did you respond to your new responsibilities there?
yeah, I was more of a player coach, so like did the work as well. To answer your second question, I asked for it. They were going through this pivot. I think the CEO and then the CMO brought me into the room. It's like, what do you like long term? What do you see? I'm like, I want like a higher position. Like I straight up asked, this is what I want. I was very versus today. I was very bold back in the day and very aggressive. So much though, like an example, during that time, we had my manager, which was the CTO at the time. We had to present my mock-ups or like the vision for what the product would be. Um, and we pitched it in front of this CEO and went very well. We went back to the CTO's office, and I asked for a $15,000 raise on the spot. It's like I did all this work. Like I should be paid more. He's like, okay, I'll get back to you.
Did they?
Yes, yes.
And what did they say?
It's like, yeah, we're gonna give it to you, but we expect a certain level of execution. Which, like, yeah, I can do that, no problem. I was
Perfect.
very like, yeah, I was in a moment in time where like it's like I want to level up and go to the next step. I can do this kind of thing.
I'm very impressed with the boldness. I think that's something you really need in any of the positions that you've been in so far in the first 9 years of your story. You need to raise your hand and or shout things for people to hear you.
Yeah, because like if you don't ask, no one else will. Like I
Hmm.
had someone I had talked to, like, had told me like they were like she was asking for a raise every 6 months. I was like, really? I'm like, I if you're asking for every 6 months, I should at least do it every year. So it's
Yeah.
like part of like where I got that methodology from. Just like if you ask, no one else will.
Hmm. Yeah. They're not just going to give you, it's like they're not going to knock on your door and be like, hey, do you want a $15,000 raise? They're like, hey, here's 1 or 2%, so you have to ask for it and then
Yes,
prove it that it's worth it.
yes. You got like part of that is like I know I was doing the work, and then I knew I can back it up. Like that's what gives me, what should give you the confidence that you are doing the work at the level that requires that same pay compensation.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, so it sounds like you're in a very good spot. Big race, doing the things you want to do, having a team.
Hmm.
Paradise.
So it seems. So it seems. Yeah, I just had a fault. Like I was at the end there. I just wasn't aligned with like the vision of the and like the methodology execution of that company. They pivoted from like a agency to a product. So like the agency mentality was still there. I just was like, it was like fight. I was fighting a bit. I was like, I had to fight for like 2 months to get user research approved to get like a $3,000 budget for, which is like, come on, let me understand what the like, let me learn and fail and like understand like who are like, let me not just anchor on what the C suite is doing. Like, let me learn some of this myself. Let me get closer to the user and who we're designing it for. So like we can craft this product specifically tailored so like we can win. So a bit of friction and like just like vision and execution. So I decided to kind of move on, I guess.
Mm.
Well, I did move on,
Yeah.
which was to a new company where I was the solo designer this time.
Right.
So new product as part of the suite of this company that's been around for like 40 plus years. They wanted to go from 0 to 1, which was exciting. And at this point in my career, I am doing no coding. I should be very clear. I went from,
Okay.
I think, the last company that I left from, where I was there 4.5 years, like it was the UI UX became no coding. So like
Mhm.
the split was there. And then that's
Yeah.
when I learned what a design system was. I was like, what?
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting, right? So start of your career, designer does front end, and then the developer does back end only. But then looks like front end moved teams basically. They moved to the developer side of the company. But did you miss it? Because you also told me, like in the beginning, like you moved companies because you wanted to learn CSS,
Yeah,
and now you're doing no coding.
I did.
That must feel strange.
It was. It's so much so like during when I was at the agents, when it was an AG at the time, I was like, I spoke up, I'm like, I am feel like I'm losing a part of like what I do and like what I like. Like I love having that experience of designing a thing and then having to build it and like, okay, it's live. And like I did that thing versus let me design this thing and then hope that I do my little communication thing where it's annotated,
Mhm.
documented, and I'm going back and forth and it comes out in the other end with like a semi version of what I imagine it being. Like I really like that part. But like the industry was shifting. So like that's that's not what designers did anymore. They didn't do any of the implementation. At least at the places that I joined.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's worth a whole different discussion. But I don't want to sidetrack from your story because yeah. So you're
Yeah.
doing something very cool. You have like wow design system. What happens next?
Yeah, so like I joined the company, they had just started on the project. The CPO or the head of product was doing the design stuff. So picture that how you may.
Mhm.
So I had to come in and kind of just rehaul
Yeah.
the UX space and just like first thing, just understanding like what the team was building, what are the pain points like with the engineering team. I so much so like I interviewed like I had a one-on-one with every developer like on like my first week. I'm like, hey, what's what is shitty right now in terms of like from the design side? What can I help you with? And that was my first like way in. Like, let me just help them design a design system. I understood that they used like a material UI. So I'm like, let me design a design system so that there's not this friction between this picture that we're sending you into like what we're building.
Hmm.
Yeah. So like started there and then like tried to like build a design culture of one
Yeah.
and ended up shipping that product within a year. No, 6 months. We shipped it in 6 months. Within the first year, I think we did 1.1 mil in ARR, which is impressive.
I think so. Yeah.
So that not necessarily like they would pay for all the operational stuff, but like it's a good start.
Mm.
Yeah, I was there for 4 years. So like, yeah, it was a good like leaps and bounds from like where they started. It's like 0 to 1 product, and then it was able to scale and be like part, I think, and 50% of the revenue of the company. They had another product or two products at the time, but like that became like half of the revenue by the end of the time that it left.
Yeah. So I mean, you have several success stories there in your career.
Yeah. Yeah. Until the reason I left
Oh no! Oh no!
is because
The big sigh and the until that
I was
really
actually,
makes me curious.
I was let go,
Wow.
which, yeah, that wasn't cool. I was there for 4.5 years and then I was let go. Reason today is still a mystery to me, but you know,
Hmm.
we're going in a different direction.
Okay, yeah. So you got the politically correct press release almost, like things
Yes,
that they tell everyone, but then you
yeah,
feel like there's some sort of undercurrent there, like it's not a real reason.
yes, it for sure wasn't there a reason.
Did you feel it coming?
Whatever, kind of like I noticed that like my manager was like having meetings with like design agencies at the time. I was like,
Mm.
this is weird, and like I wasn't invited, so it was very weird.
Did you like when you had that weird gut feeling? Like, did you dismiss it or did you prep or like did you react in any way to it?
I was very silent. I was like, okay, like I had basically I had a meeting set up with my manager, and then poop, it was a meeting with my manager and HR.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Then
oh,
you,
this is,
yeah. You know
so,
what's happening. Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, that was gut punching. That was the first time I was let go. So
Yeah, because up until this moment, every time you changed jobs, just to be clear,
yeah,
you initiated leaving the company. You found something else and you told them, hey, I am leaving.
yeah.
Okay.
This time, the complete opposite. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't take it very well. Things were thrown against the
Yeah.
wall after the meeting
Yeah.
was closed. Had my laptop shut off remotely 3 minutes after the call. A very, very, very frustrating time.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
that's very American, right? That's what you hear and read everywhere as a European, it sounds so hard to believe that's, the moment you hear the bad news, just moments later, you're locked out of all systems. Like it's just, you don't exist. You've never existed over there. I mean, that's scary.
it is. And I was like, okay, well, I've never been in the position. It's like, okay, well, I've been working for the last, what would that be? I guess 10 years at that point. I was like, okay, I gotta find a place. I don't have a job, and I gotta figure out what else to do. Um,
Yeah.
I-
What was that like? Like, because like at the start of your career, you weren't able to find a job, but you were living at home. So not a lot of responsibility, but now we're like 12, 13 years later.
yeah,
I
I have a
imagine
wife
you
and
have,
kid.
yeah, wife and kid,
Yeah.
rent or mortgage to pay, healthcare, all that kind of stuff. Stressful times, I imagine.
Yes. So it was like a mad scramble. I got to update my website. I got on my portfolio. I got to start applying. So it was just, I took like 2 weeks to update my website. I'm like, I'm giving myself a hard deadline. I'm not twiddling my thumbs. Like whatever I land on 2 weeks, that's what I'm going to be shipping. So did that, and then blasting like 100 applications, just like mad spray, like with
Mm.
like we talked about before, like tailored to each company. So I'm crafting a cover letter per company, and also tailoring my CV per company. Landed a spot job offer in 3 months after.
Okay. Okay. So 3 months, lots of applying, like not sure how to ask it. Like, 3 months, was that a lot or was it easier than expected or harder? Like, what was that period like? How would you score it basically?
I think it was hard. I mean, luckily I had like a package. So I had my rent
Severance.
covered. My severance. I had a 3 month severance,
Okay.
it covered. So it was exactly what I needed. I think I was one day
Mm.
over. So
Yeah.
like stressful, just because like I was like, okay, well, I have 3 months to find something. I'm like, should be able to find something. But I think that like the beginning of the stages where like the job market was a lot harder than it used to be. I think it was earlier on in my career. I think it was very easy to kind of find a new thing. I think now it's becoming a bit tougher. So that was tough.
Yeah. What year are we in? 2020 something.
2020, yeah, yeah, 2020, yeah, 2021 or 22,
So
21, yeah,
that's mid COVID and just before the second AI wave.
yeah. I think it's
Okay.
2022 probably.
Okay. Okay.
Then I jumped, found a place. The VP of product hired me. I think I've talked about this before. Fifth day in on the job, he leaves.
Okay.
he quits. Talked to him on Zoom after. He's like, you've joined a sinking ship. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
So he's just let me get that straight. Like he was like very like happy face. Hey Tyler, welcome. You should work here to have you on board. And then 5 days later, happy face goes off, regular face comes on, and then that
Yeah,
thing happened. What you just told me.
I think he discussed, because he was there a month when he hired me,
Mm.
and then 3 weeks later, like I was to start. I had 3 weeks between when I got the job to when I started. So I think in that 3 weeks, he had discovered some things.
Right. Okay. Okay. So he didn't lie to you. He just didn't know.
He didn't
Like
know.
he found out a few things after hiring you, basically. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. Same thing happened to me on a job when I joined a company in the first month. At the end of the month, they had a coming together, like a knowledge share evening type thing. And five people quit in my first ever knowledge evening.
That's
So
the
that was,
worst.
yeah, feels similar to what you're going through, but it's not about me. Okay, your manager leaves. So I imagine that leaves you without steering, without.
Yeah, because I had started with the new PM, so it hired me and the PM at the same time, and then similar to what you just mentioned, 10 people quit within like my first 10 days
Wow.
there.
So they
Like
all
half,
found out the same thing, probably.
yeah, I think like it might have been like 30% of the company quit. Like I
Wow.
think they were like 50, and then it went down. Like they were 60, went down to like 40. It was weird. I was like, this is off. This is weird.
Yeah.
So I was the only designer
Yeah.
there. And then the CEO was calling me a PM at some point. I was like, what am
Oof.
I got? I assumed PM
How dare they?
responsibilities. Like, here's our new product person. I'm like, product person? He's talking to me?
How dare you? Did you ever find out if you want to share even like what happened? Like what did all those people find out that made them leave?
The CEO was just lying a lot.
Mm.
It was just like, he just like wasn't so much so that I was on an interview, and then I was told not to tell them that like we're developing this feature,
Mm.
but say that it was done and we're refining it, because you basically promised to a customer that this would be done within a certain set period. It was past that period, but I needed to do some usability testing, and you're like, just say
Right.
it's done, and say the Figma link is actually the real thing. It's like, okay,
Right.
well, so this like very sales led,
Mm.
big
Yeah.
promises,
Yeah.
things
And
that
then
couldn't be delivered
yeah.
on.
And then blaming the team when the team isn't able to, make the strange promises happen from the
Yeah.
CEO, right? Okay. So how many, we're talking about years, but how many days did you stay?
I was let go on month 7.
Oh, you was let go. Okay.
Yeah, the position no longer existed. It's like they were running out of money. That's what happened.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that leaves you jobless for the second time in a row, again with
Yes.
COVID.
Uh-huh.
What's your confidence level like at that moment?
It's an all-time low. I'm going to be very transparent. Like, this is like within the same year I was let go twice. So like the arrogant Tyler had dissipated. See,
Mhm.
the same guy who kind of walked out of that meeting and asked for a 15 grand raise, like he doesn't exist anymore. It's like, okay,
No, I imagine.
I
Yeah.
am,
The insecure Tyler started to see a pattern. Hey, it's
yep.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that being said, I mean, I must push forward another 3 months by, found a new job, which is my current one today.
Mhm.
Very good experience. I'm like, but my now antennas are up. Like, I got to do research on the founder background, how long, Glassdoor. I'm like, I am not jumping into another sinking ship. I got to make sure that everything looks good. It did. Like, I went through like all podcasts, like all that, like went through their website, went through their funnel, seeing like what may be broken. It looked good, and it
Nice.
is good because I'm still here
Yeah.
like a year and a half later. Very good impression with like the hiring manager. Like, was able to like stayed longer after because I had more questions. Was open to like booking another session, like green flags for for the first time.
Okay. Okay.
And for some that I've actually had like mentorship. I feel like I was constantly like in my career, like figuring it out myself. And this is like the first place where I have a bit of guidance, which is refreshing.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So tell me a bit more about then your current position, because you've done so many different things from social media to building to not building and only designing. Like, what do you do basically? What type of design brand are you doing?
So product design, that is, and then it's evolving day by day. So it's like, it's really just like doing research, discovery, Figma design, like 70% strategy, 30% design, like the classic mix.
Mm.
Though like the position is evolving, and like a KPI that we may be kind of putting forth is like a designer must push at least one PR per quarter, which is something that I want to be pushing for, because that's where we're going. Something that you're
Mhm.
already doing, but like I think like in house, I think that should be, it's becoming the new norm, that like we're skipping a couple steps, we are going straight to code, so we have something that we can test and ship to.
Mhm.
We just have to validate the ideas very early. Yeah, it's ever changing, but the what we call product design today is what I'm doing.
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's it feels modern, but actually it's the classic way of designing. So you're doing like when you're saying a PR per quarter, for those who don't know, is that it means that you submit a change in code that someone has to review and then hopefully approve so that the thing that you made actually ends up in the product. But I imagine that's mostly front end stuff, right? It's
Yes,
but
yes,
that's
exactly.
just me guessing. UI quick fixes or simple dashboard updates. Like it's probably not going to be a full feature yet that a
No, yeah,
designer does on his
I
own.
think yeah, I think it'll evolve there slowly. But at the moment, yeah, it's like small things, fixes, very kind of aesthetic visual stuff. We're slowly starting to get into like prototyping. We're on this on the end of like the thing. We're doing more exploration and like vibe coding and like creating these POCs, rather than staying in Figma. We're actually building, like we're really taking out that builder persona. So like
Yeah,
full circle moment, we're getting back into code. Yes, we have that prompting layer, but like I think we're getting back into, at least me, I'm getting back to like where I started, which is like coding as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't have to, but it does feel like the let's say the middle or the most common job description is moving there. I see it for sure. More on that later. But what I'm curious about, really at the beginning of this episode, we talked about very briefly about, design community feels like it's on fire, not in a good way. Like, wow, you're on fire,
Mhm.
you're doing a great job, but like more in the literal sense that it's people are concerned and scrambling and not knowing what to do and blaming each other. Like there's a lot of toxicity there. But then you have what it looks like a great position that you're in. You're happy doing cool things. And your colleagues are happy with you. Why is that? Like, are you like the very small minority, or did you do something better than most people? Like, is there a secret
I think
or a top three things that people should change today if they want to have the success that you're having?
Yeah, I think just like looking over like the last 16 years, I think the pattern is being consistent, like making sure you're doing the work, like doing what you say, but also like keeping your the industry is ever changing. Like it was a bit slower at the beginning of my career, but now it's evolving very quickly. It's about keeping your a pulse of like what's changing, what are the new tools, but anchored in classic kind of design thinking. Like that is never
Right,
changing. It's just the tools that you're using. I think number one, just don't get stale.
right,
Don't be frigid in terms of like the your process, because that changes, but the thinking stays the same.
right, right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. The doing the thing that you're saying is, I think, very important. I talk to so many, um, when I work with someone new, like new project, new client, I always ask like, hey, why me? Why now? And then one of the main reasons is like, well, yeah, I had a bad experience with the previous designer. And that's not their layout skill and typography skill or knowledge, but that's mostly like communicating, listening and doing the things that are asked. Like, hey, can you do this thing? Yes. And then, crickets for 2 weeks. So I feel like that's a big one. Listening to your story, I also think it's about your boldness, just taking taking a swing, try and see if you can make something happen. Sure, you can fall on your face, but you'll learn, or you hit and you have a big promotion or a cool new job. So, yeah, the risk taking, I think, is also a big part.
Risk taking is big. Like you have to be believing yourself. And I think for me, it's not comparing yourself to others, but like comparing yourself to your previous self. Like that being the goalpost. Like, let me look
Yeah.
what I used to do. Let me see if I can top myself. I think at some point in my career, I was like, let me just anchor myself on like the top 3 designers, which can be, it's not a good idea because you're going to be disappointed. Like the reward is you being better than you were yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. And then I think one thing that's not a thing people will appreciate, but I also think that you really need that official program. Like you've done 2 programs, very expensive ones, where you really learned your craft. I don't think, in theory, you can get a job just by falling face forward into it. But I think you really need something bigger than the Google UX course or a boot camp. Like you need something official. It takes a year plus.
Yeah, I'm on the fence, but probably like you need something official, not like a quick. It could be a boot camp, but it has to be done the right way. But like most boot camps are
Yeah.
not very good. You need something concrete that you're able to be in a room with other people that are learning with you at the same time, but have a person who houses all that knowledge that you can kind of refer to. Like that person who's like the teacher in the room is something uh, is very important. That they're like connected to the industry. They've been doing it themselves, and you're not just following a plan. You can actually try, fail, and then like the internship, I think is super important. Like doing
Yeah.
something, whether it's paid or free, it doesn't matter. Like on the job experience as
Yeah.
part of that package.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I think, I have to clarify, like, I think that's what I meant also. Like, don't do a 6-week boot camp where, made by some sort of non-designer that just wants to make a quick buck and promises you a job guarantee, to do something official, quote unquote, in a sense, like what you're saying. There's a teacher there, you're together with people, you're learning, you're doing something. It takes probably longer than a few weeks, where you actually learn the craft, like really
Yeah.
heads down, learn something, get skilled. That's really helpful. And then, doesn't matter what type of piece of paper you get or certification, but just really learn it. I think is important.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Well, I mean, this was very exciting. Your hockey stick career path had a big dip in the second half, but it's shooting upwards. Listening to you about your current position. Maybe my final question for this episode for you is, like you said, that you always have the next thing, like career-wise. Like, what do you want to do next? Like, maybe within your current job. Like, what's like?
Yeah.
What are you aiming for?
So I'm looking back on like when I went from like leadership back to IC. I think probably leadership is the next rung for me. I think that's my next step up. So it's something that I really think that I have a good sense of like how products have been are built and have been built over the last like 16 years. I think I have a good knowledge of like different strategies that you can deploy. So I think I could be a good kind of people leader and kind of good strategist at that leadership level.
I hope that happens for you. And then if it does, we should do, Tyler's story part 2. This was very exciting to listen to. It's very cool to share both our stories and see the overlap, but also the fork in the road where we went into different directions. It's very cool.
Yeah, it was cool to see some of the commonalities too. So
yeah,
it's good that like we have both of our stories out there.
Yeah.
All right, that's another episode in the bag.
Yeah, great episode. By the way, if you're stuck second guessing your work or trying to figure out your next move, drop a question in the comments or leave a review. We might actually feature you in one of our future episodes.
And if you got any value from this episode, hit subscribe wherever you're listening. It helps more than you think.
You can find everything else, resources, articles, and more at designtablepodcast.com.
Thanks for being here.
See you next time.